So you telling me all that she has, $25, she just decided to give it to God?
Yeah, literally. And it wasn't even cash. Like, I think it was through like my PayPal account. Whatever. No, I'm serious. Like, it was through like my PayPal account.
Yeah.
And I put it in, kind of laid it down, and as I was walking away from like the altar, like the church, the pastor touched me and he said my name, spoke to me, and I was just kind of like, oh my God. It shook me, and the things that he was just speaking to me about was just like literally everything I was going through in my life at that moment. And my mom didn't even know. That's what's crazy. Like, it was so personal. My mom didn't even know. She was going there for her own reasons, and I'm going there for my own reasons. We don't even know what we're going there for. You get what I'm saying? It was so different. And it just kind of like, right after that trip, like coming back home, I literally was just like, yeah, I'm not going back there. Like, I'm coming back home. I need to sit still. I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. You know, like, I need to make sure like I'm not working for no reason. Like, I need an end goal. And that kind of just like pushed me to come back home. I didn't tell anyone that I was moving back home.
Welcome back to Empower Her. It's your girl and your host, Nana. This is the show we educate to elevate and aspire to inspire. So I have with me today Miss Maria Asare. I have seen her growth, and that's the reason why I'm sitting here talking to her, because I'm like, I want to know the tips. I want to know the secrets. How did you get here? What did you do to get here? And how did you even maintain what you have now? So y'all, welcome, Miss Maria Asare. No, I am so happy to have you here today because I have seen your growth. It has been like, what, 2-3 years maybe since I've gotten to know you, so it hasn't been long, but I saw how your passion has taken you where you're at today. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the ins and outs of owning a business, being a boss babe and looking good while doing it. Like your grace and how you do business is beautiful to me. And I can definitely find that as empowering for somebody to watch and learn from you. So welcome to Empower Her. Yeah, because before we get into the nitpicks of things, I want to understand a little bit about your salon. So the name Main Gala itself, like, it sounds cute, but what does it mean?
Okay, so I got the name from, like, originally I was selling hair. So mane, like hair, you know, that's like another form of saying hair.
Like a horse's mane?
Yeah, hair. Yeah, horse's mane, any type of hair, really. It's like a hair follicle. So hair, which is the mane, and then the gala is more so about the fact that I have like a lot going on here. So like when you think of like a party or something like that, there's like a lot of different things going on at a gala, right? So that's where the whole main gala, and then beauty, obviously, because it's just beauty things.
Okay, you mentioned like you have a lot of things going on here. So what's going on here?
So I have like hair going on. People do hair. We have lashes. We have beauty, like, you know, skincare, things like that. So it's a lot of different things going on, like esthetician wise and cosmetology. So yeah.
So how did you come up with the idea of owning a salon, like not just for you, but for somebody else to be in a salon and work?
Right. So, I mean, I've always been into like salons. Like I grew up getting my hair done. My mom is a cosmetologist. So I've always
Shout out to Mama.
So I've always been around like beauty, hair, all types of things. I recently was working at my mom's salon for like maybe three and a half years, almost 4 years. And I just love the way she was running things. Like, it's fun. You know, you're around different type of women all the time. There's different personalities. It's not boring. I've always worked by myself prior to working with my mom, and I just like the idea of being around women. So I'm like, okay, why not open up my own place, right? So that's really where that came from. But yeah, it was just an idea of just being around women. I just love being around girls. I love, you know, communicating, talking, and just, you know, sharing things. Like, I feel like it gives a place for women to just be themselves, I guess. Yeah.
So back at your mom's salon, you were still doing hair. You were laying wigs and making wigs, customizing them and so on. So what was the switch that made you decide that I want to have my own? I know you want to work with girls, but like, what made you decide, let me own my own huge salon?
Right. So, I mean, there's really no answer for that, right? It's just like you like being around the environment, I feel like. But I guess it's just a a way of just empowering women, or just allowing women to like set their starting points or whatever, like giving them a beginning stage, if that makes sense. Because like I kind of did, but like not everybody has that option, right? So I just wanted to give women a place to start, I guess. Yeah.
And what is the end goal with that? What's the vision with that once they come in? So let's say I'm a stylist. I come in, I have my own little studio. What's your vision for me? Like, do you expect me to stay with you for 10 years?
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like I said, it's a starting place.
Okay.
I will hope that every woman who comes in here starts here and continues to grow.
Okay.
My goal for everybody who works in here is to do their own thing, kind of like pick up on what the energy is in here, what they like, what they don't like, and take it with them on their journey. So the end goal for me is just, it's kind of like teaching in a way, showing them how things are ran or whatever, and seeing what they could take from it and do their own things in the, in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand a little bit about main gala now, but now I want to understand Maria.
Okay.
Let's go back to little baby Maria. Where were you born? How was life like as a little girl?
So I was born in Ghana, Kumasi.
Period.
Period. I was born in Ghana, Kumasi. I stayed there for about 3.5 years before my family came to New York. We stayed in New York for maybe almost 3 years, and then we came to Columbus, Ohio. So my life really, growing up, like I have some, flashes of Ghana, life in Ghana, but not really, to be honest, because I wasn't there for so long. A majority of my childhood was based here in Columbus, Ohio. So I grew up on the north side, Columbus, Ohio, and just did what everybody else did, go to school and chill. Yeah.
Interesting. So moving from Ghana to New York, how old were you?
I was about 3,
you said
almost
3,
4, yeah.
4, and then coming from New York to here?
I got here probably like starting off the end of kindergarten is when I got to.
Oh, okay. So you don't have much memory of Ghana and Columbus then?
No.
So not Ghana and Columbus, but Ghana and New York.
Yeah.
So Columbus is what you know.
Yeah, it's what I know.
And
that's where I was raised. Yeah.
You went to every school here, like middle school, elementary, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. So teenage Maria, how were you like? Were you always this confident, this boss babe?
No, I wouldn't say that. I feel like for a majority of my childhood, I was really like chill, calm, collective. I really didn't like communicate a lot in like middle school and stuff. I was really to myself, always like, in the corner a little bit until like probably like 8th grade going into 9th grade, and when I could say that I started like speaking and being more open. I was always open like on the internet, I would say that, like I was more comfortable, like I was definitely like a Tumblr girl, like things like that, but I was never really like talkative in real life until like probably like 9th grade. I feel like that's when I got my voice. So.
Did you always have this aspiration to be a business owner, or what was your dream job as a kid? So my dream job, like I always felt like I was going to be like with people, like around people, but I never really thought of like being my own boss or like owning something until like later on in life. Cause like with hair, like I did hair throughout middle school and then got into high school and was doing hair. I always did it on the side for like my friends and things like that, neighbors, people like that. But I never really like thought this was going to be like what I would do as an adult, not until like older, probably like 19, 20-ish is when I was like, okay, wait, people make money doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, this could really be a career. Yeah.
So then that's when I was like, okay, yeah, let me pick up on this, right? But it was always like a hobby / like little side job or whatever that I always just did to get some money. Yeah.
So you've always done it. So in school, were you like the A+ student, or were you struggling in school?
I was probably like a B, C, school really wasn't my forte. Like I've always been a go-getter. Like 16, I had a job, had my car, I was really like big on that, but I wasn't really like in the books, if that makes sense. Like that wasn't really my thing. So I was like going to college, like I knew I was going to go to college, but I didn't think like I wasn't going to college for education, if that makes sense. What
was you going for?
More so like I just want to experience college.
Okay.
Like, I feel like that's what most people do. Like, they just don't say it out loud. But, like, a majority of us, we go to college because it's like, why not? You know? Or, like, our parents are like, go to college. You know? But, it was more so, like, I wanted to get money. You know what I'm saying? That's always been what I wanted to do, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think that's what motivates a lot of people to do anything anyway.
Yeah,
it's just
definitely.
like vocalizing that may be hard because it may seem like, oh, you're only for the money. Like, I mean, the money is nice, but I need to also like learn and stuff like that. So, what has shaped your experiences to be who you are today? You mentioned you got a job at 16. I think that allowed you to see money early on, like, oh, I want to go get more. So what other experiences in your childhood shaped you to be you today?
I mean, I would just say I guess the growing up in like a foreign home kind of makes you like, okay, you got to do something. It kind of like shaped me to like go hard for things because like obviously like I'm not from here. You come from like third world country. I don't know if Ghana's still considered a third world country, but like
I don't probably not
now.
today.
But like back then it was just kind of like, you know, not this, obviously. So like our parents are constantly in our ears like, hey, you could do this, you could do this, you see where I came from, why not? So it was always like that, I guess, like being around my parents, like my father and my mother just constantly reminded me like, you could do this, you could go for this. I guess that kind of shaped me.
Were they pushing you more on the educational side or your creativity side?
Definitely the educational side because that's all they know.
Yeah, that's
true. And I would say that I feel like foreign families, like hustle is already in them, so they don't think of creating a revenue through hustle. They think of the opportunities that they didn't get, which was what education.
That's true.
So with the education is more so what they feel like, oh well, if I had an education I would have been here. And it's kind of different from what they're already installed with, which was, you know, they'll be on the streets selling this, selling that to get money. So they don't think of it like that.
Yeah, because I know back home, the side houses didn't make that much money. But if you're a doctor, engineer, nurse, you're making much more. So they pushed it onto us more that education's a key. That's all they know, that it will give you money. So did you clash heads with the parents a lot? Like, I don't want to do school.
So what's funny about it is I really was never even the child to be like, I'm not doing it. I tried it. I definitely tried it. I was like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. You know, whatever you guys think is best, I'll go for it. I feel like my parents knew that it really wasn't for me, but they still kind of like supported it and just hope, like, you know, she'll finish. Hopefully she finishes. But no, like I never was like, you know, I don't know, like a riot to it. Like I never thought twice about it. I just tried it, you know, like why not, you know.
And when you went to college, what did you decide to study?
So I was doing international relations and public relations. So my idea of what I was going to do was more so of like, I wanted to work with like companies or anything that had to do with like women. So like a publicist kind of in any type. I didn't really know exactly what field I was going to go into, but I knew that's what I wanted.
You just knew from the get-go you want to be around women, period. If it's this way or that way, it's going to be around women.
I'm a girl's girl. Like I really am. So I feel like that's what I just always
do. So I know from our conversations, from like, you know, nature and everything, college was not a thing for you. You decided to dip. What was your process like? Just like saying, this is not for me.
I think for me, I'm as to myself as I am, I really don't like being told what to do either. So I think the idea of having deadlines and doing this and doing that, and it wasn't really what I really wanted to do, made me kind of like separate from school.
The micromanagement.
Yeah, the micromanagement. And I feel like that's a big thing in college. Like if you don't have that, like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, like that thought process to be like, I'm doing this for that, or having that passion, I guess, to push you to micromanage everything.
It's hard.
It's hard. You're not going to finish. So I didn't really have that, if that makes sense. Like I lost it later on. Like starting off, it was okay, but like later on throughout it.
What year did you decide to like?
Probably like my second year going into my third.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like, nah.
Were you doing hair while in college?
Yeah.
Is that why? Like you saw money coming in, it's like, let me just focus on this part.
So what happened was I decided to leave Columbus and transfer schools. So I left Columbus, went to a different school out of state. And I think it was also the environment of the state where it's like, I seen a lot of people who are entrepreneurs and doing really well for themselves. And it kind of just gave me the idea, like, okay, you could be an entrepreneur and you can make it work, you know? And it could really give you some type of financial stability, and it could also give you like that freedom that you're looking for. So I think it was that for me.
So when you decided to go to out of state, what state did you decide to go to?
I went to Georgia.
That's at that time. No, still today. That's where like a lot of like hair gurus are at.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw,
at the time, a lot of them was migrating there too. I would say that, like, a lot of the faves that everybody's like obsessed with. That was the time they were all.
That's
like,
where they all started from too.
Yeah.
So did you go to school there, or did you just start doing hair?
So I went to school there for like a semester and a half, basically. And in between is when I was like, nah. But I went to Kennesaw State for like a semester, basically, and then I was just like, nah, this ain't it.
So you're in Atlanta now. You decide to drop out of school. You're doing hair at a salon or at your house.
So I started off at home because I was living in like student living when it's like different, you know, roommates and stuff. So I was starting off like that in my apartment room or whatever, and then I branched into a salon.
Okay, so now that you've left school and you're working at a salon, did your folks back home know, or you just decided, let me do this? In the beginning, nah.
But they know now, so I can speak on it. Like, obviously, but like, no, they didn't know. They didn't, they thought, you know, I was still trying, but they definitely knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to do for real. So, they were just kind of like, still kind of like, we'll just try, you know. It was like that for me, but no, like, they didn't know at first.
And how was it like being in a salon in a new state, doing what you like to do?
I loved it. Like, I'm really like adventurous, I would say. Like, I could be by myself, you know. I can go outside, go get a drink, go do this by myself. So I love being not home, out there, meeting new people and doing things like that. I loved it.
How long were you in Atlanta for?
I was there from like 2016 until like 2000 and the end of 2018, I want to say.
That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, like maybe 3 years, I want to say.
So why'd you decide to come back? So Atlanta is like, you know, where the hair gurus at.
Nah,
Columbus is not for hair.
On a personal note, I feel like I started getting a little bit unfocused, right? So I knew what I wanted to do, which was like hair, and I had that idea of like, okay, this is helping me. Like, I'm financially stable, I'm happy, whatever the case may be, but emotionally, mentally, I don't think I was okay. I kind of was like focused on different things, if that makes sense. So it was just kind of like, well, come home, regroup, get yourself together. Okay. And that's where that came from.
So when you came home, let me go back to the unfocused part, because Atlanta is a big city.
Yes.
You have to be very, very like what's that thing? A needle focus or whatever to reach and get what you want.
Right.
So what was like, as a young girl, pretty, beautiful, what was like your distractions in the city?
I mean, like everything really, like you step outside is a distraction. Like, there's always something going on, and there's always constantly people like coming up to you, speaking to you about things. Like, I mean, for me, it was just going out and, you know, being around different types of people whose their focuses was wrong. And as much as people act like, oh, well, you're strong-willed, that shouldn't matter. No, it does. You know, who you put yourself around, your surroundings matter the most. Really.
Definitely.
So I think it was just going out more so, and just the people I was around. Yeah.
I strongly believe like the environment that you're in helps shapes who you are. You can have the passion to the gods, but the minute you step in the field where it's not good, not fertilized for you to grow beautifully and be in your little light or whatever, your light will start to dim. You start not growing the way you need to, because the voices that's coming at you is not to water what you need to do. So I definitely believe that Atlanta is a very busy city. If you're not focused, you're going to be very lost easily. I visited the place a couple times and I see how busy it is, so I understand you.
Definitely.
So you come back to Ohio, welcome back home. How did you regroup yourself? What was your process like?
So prior to, let's take it back a little bit. Okay. Prior to me like deciding to come back home, I had like I'll say like a spiritual awakening where something kind of like tapped me and was just like, get it together. Like, this is what you say you want. This is how I'm going to use you. It was more so of God speaking to me.
Can we talk about that, like the whole process? Like,
so, okay, so it was like, for months, I was thinking about moving back home. It was in the back of my head. But obviously, the people that I was around and stuff was just more so the encouraging thought process, like, don't leave, keep going, keep trying, or whatever. But mentally, emotionally, I felt like, nah, like, I'm not going the right way, if that makes sense. Or I was working hard for no reason. Does that make sense? So my mom was like, well, come with me to Canada. And I was just like, okay. She wanted to go to like a conference, I guess, at a church. And I came back home and we both went to this church, and we'd never been there before. It was like a weekend conference. Like, it was open for anybody. So they had different, you know, pastors and stuff coming from around the world. And we went. And one of the nights when I was there, like, they were doing, it was actually a topic about business, to be honest. And the pastor was speaking about how he was doing all these things in Nigeria. And, you know, for anybody who's in business or, like, has thought about it or self-employed, you know, do this, like, sow a seed and let's see. And so at the time, I really wasn't even financially stable. Like, I was okay. I had just put in a whole bunch of money on a suite, actually, because I was trying to transfer from like a salon to a suite.
Back in Atlanta.
Back in Atlanta. And I had just put so much money into it, so I was really like slim none, basically.
Slim
like,
none.
No, seriously, like I had nothing. And so the little amount that I had, which is so little when I think about it, I had just put the money in the envelope and just kind of told God, like, you know, well, speak to me. That's just...
How much was a little?
It was probably like $75. Like, wow. It was a little bit of money. And that was like literally like... I guess, let's just see.
Was that all that you had?
Basically.
Oh, man.
Like, it was like, until I came back home, it worked again.
So you telling me all that she had, $75, you just decided to give it to God?
Yeah, literally. And it wasn't even cash. Like, I think it was through like my PayPal account or whatever. No, I'm serious. Like, it was through like my PayPal account.
Yeah.
And because I had just put so much money into this suite, and like literally anything that I was getting in my hands, I was putting into it because I thought this was like my next step, I guess. So that's where I was at. I put it in, kind of laid it down, and as I was walking away from like the altar, like the church, the pastor touched me and he said my name, spoke to me, and I was just kind of like, oh my God. Like, it shook me. And the things that he was just speaking to me about was just like literally everything I was going through in my life at that moment. And my mom didn't even know. That's what's crazy. Like, it was so personal. My mom didn't even know. She was going there for her own reasons, and I'm going there for my own reasons. We don't even know what we're going there for. You get what I'm saying? It was so different. And it just kind of like, right after that trip, like coming back home, I literally was just like, yeah, I'm not going back there. Like, I'm coming back home. I need to sit still. I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. You know, like, I need to make sure like I'm not working for no reason. Like, I need an end goal. And that kind of just like pushed me to come back home. I didn't tell anyone that I was moving back home. I just left.
You just did. So in Atlanta, you were working hard. You mentioned that you're working hard for no reason, but yeah, you were doing what you loved. What do you mean by that?
I feel like sometimes people do, like, you could work for something and you have to have like a purpose for it. And I feel like I didn't really have a purpose. Like, I like doing hair, loved it. I love the freedom that I was getting through it, loved it. But I didn't really have a purpose or something that was driving me to it. So it's like you're working hard, but you're not feeling fulfilled. And I feel like that's where I was at in that place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. Because I'm like, you're doing what you love. What do you mean you're working hard for no reason? I get it. Like, a purpose kind of makes you, it keeps you going. Yeah. The fire is there, but the purpose will like wakes you up in the morning.
Yeah. So it's like, and you can get up every day and go to work. But if you're not, if the passion, I guess, and the purpose is not there, then you're going to feel like you're drained constantly.
You're working for no reason.
Literally.
Okay, so one thing you mentioned that also hit me is you wanted to be still. What does that look like for you? You came back home and you were still?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like being still was just kind of like letting go of everything that I thought that I knew at that time, and just kind of like starting over, grasping what it is that I really wanted to do as far as like hair goes, or as far as like life in general.
So planning.
And
how long did that planning?
I probably say like that whole summer, because we had left in like June, like the end of June going into like July. And I want to say like from July until like September, I was really like just at my parents' house, just kind of like every day at home. People still thought that I lived in Atlanta, but I didn't. Like, and I was just kind of like just trying to figure out what my next step was.
You weren't going out as much. You were.
I wasn't doing anything, to be honest. Like, I was just at home. Like, I wasn't even working. I wasn't doing hair anymore. I was just kind of like, okay, like, if I'm gonna do hair, what do I need in order to like take it further? Because one thing about it is I never went to cosmetology school or anything like that. So when I was in Atlanta, I was just working like unlicensed and stuff. So it's like, I just really didn't have the credentials, for one. For two, I didn't really feel like I had a plan. It was just like, oh, I'm doing what I love. Like, I love doing hair. At least I'm not, you know, having this burden of having to do this for school or this and that. But I feel like I was just kind of like planning, like sitting still, planning, trying to get myself mentally okay. Spiritually, I was like back intact with God. I can say that. I think that's really when I really did start having a relationship with God. And yeah, that's really what I was doing.
So many things I want to tackle in just that small conversation. So you were still, how long was the still process?
It was probably like maybe,
I think you said from June to
like July.
July.
Yeah, July to like September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for July, you were not doing hair. You were not working. You were just planning. What were you planning for?
For, I guess.
Or what came out of the Be Stillness event?
So I guess in that process, like that moment, I was just more so of like looking forward to the future. Like, okay, so what am I about to, what's my next steps? Like, am I going to go to school? Am I going to not go to school? Am I
school for hair or school for
honestly, to be honest, that topic was that. It was that. It was like, which route am I really about to do? Which one is actually going to be beneficial? Like, which one is really going to make me feel okay? You know? It was more so of like, because my parents are still in my ear, like, oh, we'll go back to school. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, like, I don't really want to do that, you know? And even if I did go back to school, would I be happy? Should I go to cosmetology school? Like, that was up in the air. Should I, you know, just what should I do? Go get a job? Like, it was more so of trying to figure out what my next life path was going to be, right? And then also, I think I was taking a lot of time in to just kind of get myself together, like, who am I? I was leaving relationships or whatever, kind of like breaking friendships, just trying to figure out what would, you know, benefit
who's
me.
For you.
Yeah, who's for me. Like, what's meant to be in my life. Like, I think that's where I was at.
No, I love that because we live in a, you know, a fast-paced world. Like, I want a business, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go get it. I don't care how long it takes me. I'm gonna go. But we don't see the power in being still. And I think one thing that's very powerful about your story is that you took the time, 3 months, to just lay back and say, God, what is it? What do you want? You kind of let go, surrender to God. And I think that's what pushed you to where you're at now, because you were able to look back and look at the whole frame of who you are, what you're meant to do, why you're doing it. So being still has this, it aids to your success. It allows you to take a pause. Like, am I going to run into this building, or am I just going to walk and look at this building and walk around it? Like, you kind of see your obstacles by just being still. So that's a powerful thing that you did, to me at least, because I'm a go-getter. I want to go. Like, I was telling you how I want to like do all my interviews and it's like go, but sometimes I'm supposed to cancel interview. I'm supposed to relax. I'm supposed to take care of myself. I'm supposed to just sit back and watch stuff, like just relax and be still and let God. There's a Bible quotation. I don't know the whole word, but I know it says be still. Something like that. I will look into it and I'll probably put it in the description because I think it's powerful for your story. So let's get back to that. You've been still for a couple months. You know what you want to do now. What'd you do next? What's your next step?
So in the beginning of November,
what year was this?
This was 2017 at this point. And beginning of November, I decided to go to my trip in 2018. Beginning of November, I went to cosmetology school. I decided to go to Aveda. And now that I'm in Aveda, like I'm in school, my mom at the time had a salon. So at this point, she was like, okay, well, you do the hair, so you might as well work here while you're in school. So I was working in the back of her salon, and I'll just be in school all day. Like I'll go to school like 9 to 6, and then I'll do hair from like 7 to like 10 or 11, maybe later. And then I was just doing that every day until I graduated, which was like the next year. It took me about a year, probably like 13 months is how long it took me to go to school. Yeah. And then once I finished that, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm done. What's next? Which was more so of like, okay, I was working to like kind of, because I stayed at my parents' house throughout the whole process. While I was at school, I decided not to get a place or anything like that. I think I wanted to just like focus and like, you know, discipline myself. Because one thing about me is, like I told you earlier, I do whatever I want. Like I really just kind of go for things, and I'm very fast paced most of the time. So at that moment, I just wanted like discipline, if that makes sense. So I stayed at home, and I just went to school. I worked, and then I kind of just, after I finished school, I just kind of worked until I could moved out, and yeah. That's how it was.
Discipline. What was like? So you went to school, work, home, schoolwork, home.
Right.
Apart from that, what was some discipline you instilled in yourself? Like, I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to make sure I get this done at this time. What was discipline like for you?
So for me, it was more so of like, okay, I was up 6 a.m. every day because, you know, kind of
6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m. I do that even now though.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I do that even now, girl. I feel like you have to. So I got up 6 a.m. kind of get my life together because like my school was kind of far, like maybe an hour from my house or whatever. Just trying to get to school on time every day. Being there, being passionate about it, kind of taking in like the lessons being taught in there. Something about school, for real, you could go to school, but do you really learn? You know, so I was just kind of like taking anything that I could get out of the situation in. And then after that, just working. So I was kind of like rebuilding myself in Columbus because like I had left for those years. So coming back, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm here. Like, who wants to get their hair done? Like, who wants to see me? So that was it, kind of like putting myself out there in the community. And then also like just kind of like working with God, like paying attention to my walk with him. I think that's really what I was like more so trying to do. And I feel like with that, it's like you gotta kind of like shut everything else out in your life in order to like really focus on that. So that's what that was.
So what was the switch in your community from these are people I hang out with, this is my crew, to now I'm focused on me, my business, and God? Like, were your community supportive of that, or you had to let them all, literally everyone, go?
Eventually, I pretty much left everybody alone, except for like, I'll say my long-term friends, like the people who knew me even prior to like who I picked up in Atlanta and stuff like that, which are still who I consider my friends, like my sisters. But like, yeah, it went from like a bunch to like 3, I would say. And that was okay. They definitely supported, like they knew what I was on, like what timing I was on, and they just supported me. So that was good.
Let me go back real quick. So in Atlanta, how much were you making as a student and working in a studio?
So it's different. Like Atlanta's pricing, Columbus pricing is a lot different, but I was making good money, like compared to like anywhere from like 3 to 5 a month, 3 to 5K a month. It was flowing in easy for me because it's something that people really want, right? So it was easy for me to catch on to.
No, that switch had to be very, it had to be God.
Yeah.
Because you were comfortable.
No, literally.
You
like,
were living.
Don't understand.
You were comfortable. The parties was there. Your girlfriends was there. Like men who were fine were there.
Yeah,
like,
no, for real. No,
like it's Atlanta, but for you to switch and come back home and say, God, I'm gonna be still. I'm gonna let all this go and focus on like what the passion is, what the purpose is for you, like in your will for me. I think. Like that still blows my mind. That's why I went back to like you left that for what was unknown to you.
Definitely.
And that's like you have to know what you want for you to do that.
Yeah.
You have to know that's bigger for me, for me to make that step. So now you've done your school for 13 months. Was it hard for you to be in school? Was it an easy thing for you?
It wasn't hard, but it was it was different because I was really alone a lot of times. You know, living with family is good. I was with my family, but as far as like companionship, like, you know, because I had left a relationship, so like I was alone a lot. Didn't really have a lot of like time for friends, if that makes sense. So that probably was a little bit harder for me, but not really as far as like the education wise of the schooling. It was hard though.
Okay, so after school, is that when you decided to have your own salon?
Okay, so while I was in school and working at my mom's, that's when I started having that idea, like, well, why don't I do that? You know, I could do it too. And my mom was supportive of it. She was very like, okay, yeah, you could do it. Like, you know, finish this first, but like, you could do it. So I think during school was when I was like, okay, I feel like I could do this. You know, I love this. Like, I love being around women. I love this, you know, this whole thing about it. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, I could do it. Yeah.
Okay. Now this part is something that's I guess motivational to me. Like when I hear it or when I hear you speak about it, it makes me go home and write down like what I want and actually like go for it no matter what happens.
No, definitely.
So you were in your mom's shop. You've done the whole be still thing. You're back on track with God. The process of getting this building.
It was a lot.
Let's talk about that. What was the beginning steps like?